Hi, I'm Ben Campos. I'm a PA practicing in primary care in New Braunfels, Texas, and I'm a certified culinary medicine specialist. Today, we're going to talk about fennel. Now, when we start, we should consider the anatomy of the fennel. We have our bulb, our stalks, and our fronds. When you're looking for fennel in the grocery store, sometimes they'll be helpful and have it displayed like this, so it's easily identifiable. If you don't see this in your grocer, take a second look. Most grocers will have them presented horizontally, and all you can see is the bulb. So if you don't see this freshly, take another look. Now, when we are considering using the fennel, most fennel recipes are going to have you work with the bulb. The stalks, while edible, aren't usually a part of most recipes, and the fronds are usually reserved for garnishes. So with your fronds, you could just take them off and set them aside. You could run your knife through them at the end, and they're typically garnished. Kind of looks like dill. It has that fresh licorice type of flavor. To remove the to remove the stalks, you're just going to run your knife through and cut them off very simply. You could use these in vegetable broth, but the flavor of the licorice tends to be pretty powerful. So if you're including it, I'd say 1 or 2 of the stalks for only about 5 to 10 minutes. Anything more than that, then it could overpower the taste of the broth. Now we'll set this aside and focus on the bulb. To access the bulb, we're just going to cut it in half lengthwise, like so. Now the next step with the fennel is going to be based upon what you're preparing. If you're going to be roasting fennel, most recipes will have you cut it into wedges. You could place it flat side down and then cut it in half vertically like this. And a small fennel bulb like this might produce 4 wedges per half. So another cut down through the root end, and then turning this one over, once again through the root end. Now, I preserve the root end here because it's going to keep the leaves of the fennel bulb intact. Now, when we're roasting this, the root will break down and become edible. So you could take these wedges, put them into a bowl, add some olive oil, avocado oil, salt and pepper, and you can roast it in an oven for about 400 degrees, anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, and you'll have perfectly roasted fennel wedges. You could also use fennel raw in salads. Now, if you take a close look here, you could see what we call striae, these lines here within the fennel. This is how the fennel fibers run, and as you can see, they're kind of layered. So you'll have one fiber of the fennel run here, the other run crosswise. If you are cutting the fennel raw, you want to cut against the grain. This is going to make sure that the fennel is crisp and not chewy. So very similar to how you would approach a meat. So starting on this side here, running against the grain, and then turning it over to this side, the same thing. And you'll have lovely strips of fennel that you could add to salads or just eat raw. You could also treat fennel like you would any other type of aromatic. Say you wanted to cut a dice, you're sauteing them alongside onions or garlic. In that case, the root's not going to break down. So the next step in preparing your fennel for a dice is to cut out the root. So you can see the root here, it's holding together all the leaves of the fennel bulb, making a triangular cut. We'll cut out kind of a pyramid shape of the root. That's not going to break down when you're sauteing, so you can discard this. Next, you want to use the striae once again to our advantage. This time, making parallel cuts with the fennel along the striae, and then coming back in a perpendicular fashion will leave you with a nice dice of fennel, which you could add as part of your aromatics. So here you have fennel cut 3 ways: in wedges for roasting, in strips to eat raw, or a nice dice for sautéing. Either way, I hope we introduced you to a couple new ways to look at fennel. I'm Ben Campos. Thank you for watching.